Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Freaked Out to Fearless Puppy Challenge with me, Mira Puppins. Today is the day you've all been waiting for, and I don't just mean it's Friday and it's the weekend and you can get off work for a couple of days and enjoy yourselves. I mean it's the day that we talk about preparing your puppy for fireworks. I know a lot of you are really worried about this and you've been waiting for this little bit of training because it's going to be the first time your puppy is experiencing fireworks, and naturally you're quite nervous about how they're going to cope. Are they going to be nervous? Are they going to be anxious? Are they going to be barking? How can you prepare them for fireworks? What should you be doing? Because there are things that you should be doing. We don't just sort of wing it. We can prepare our puppy for fireworks to help them get through it more comfortably. So I know there'll be lots of questions as well, which are really welcome. I'm happy to answer questions. You can either email me to mirapuppins@gmail.com, comment directly on the video, or comment on the Facebook posts. One thing I will say is I don't really reply to messages on social media because it's a bit of a black hole and it's really hard to keep track of which messages are getting sent where. So if you do have any questions, best way to get in touch is via email. If you don't want to do that, comment on the video itself or comment on Facebook. So let's get started because there is a lot to get through. And I know you're really busy. It's Friday night. You want to be relaxing, enjoying yourself, not stressing about fireworks. So let's start with the actual science behind why puppies can be so scared of fireworks. Now, there's lots of reasons why. The main one relates to their hearing. So puppies can't actually hear anything until they're about 3 weeks old. So they are born completely deaf. And their hearing is actually one of the last senses to be developed. So that might, I don't know, maybe you already knew that, or maybe you're slightly surprised to hear that. So until 3 weeks, they're completely deaf, they can't hear anything. But when their hearing does start to develop from 3 weeks onwards, it's actually up to 4 times more powerful than our own hearing. So whatever your puppy is hearing during fireworks season is amplified by 4. So what sounds like to us is a really loud noise, a really loud bang, a really loud crash, noises in general. Your puppy is hearing that 4 times more intensely, okay? So let's just think about that for a second. Also, your puppy can hear much, much higher frequencies than we can. So your puppy might be able to hear fireworks from a much further distance than we can as well. Just things to bear in mind that when we're talking about fearful puppies during fireworks season, we have to remember that our puppies' senses are so much more advanced than ours. Their sense of hearing and their sense of smell, particularly taste, not so much, but I guess that's a little bit irrelevant when we're talking about fear during fireworks season. So the big question you've all been asking and waiting for an answer for, how do you prepare your puppy for fireworks season? There's lots of different ways of doing it. I'm going to teach you the way that I would do it with my private training clients. Now, obviously, I can't go into as much detail because everything depends on your individual puppy, the way your home is set up, individual circumstances. But I'm going to give you an idea of the things that I would be doing if I had a puppy to prepare them for fireworks season. Now, bear in mind that fireworks are sort of already starting a little bit. You haven't got much time with this. So you might want to get some extra help on board, and I will talk about that a little bit later. Really, you want to start doing this as soon as you bring your puppy home. Even if you bring them home in the summer or in February, you think, oh, that's ridiculous. Why are we starting so early? Because the process we're going to do to prepare them is a process of desensitization, and it can take a very long time for your puppy to get used to these loud noises. So what do you need? Go and get a pen and paper because I have some things to share with you. I'll just wait whilst you go and do that, or you can pause me for a second. Okay, so you've got your pen and paper. Brilliant. Now, first thing I want you to do is write down a list of recommended resources, okay? First thing that you should do is get yourself a Spotify or a YouTube account, and I want you to look for fireworks playlists. I don't have a preference here. I mean, it's really whatever you can find online, depending on where you subscribe to, music, podcasts, videos, all that kind of stuff. You just want the playlist, though. You don't want the images that go with it, okay? You just want not the music. You just want the sounds. You don't want all the photos, videos of fireworks going off, and you want it to be a pre-recorded playlist, okay? I'm just going to show you an example. Bear with me 1 second. Nope, the computer says no. I can send you some links if you're interested to what I would recommend, but you want a pre-recorded playlist of fireworks sounds. You don't want live recordings of the fireworks in London last year or in Sydney or anything like that. You want pre-recorded, and this is really important, okay? So write that down. Pre-recorded playlist, no live sounds, okay? Then you want to stock up on your puppy's favourite treats. Okay, you want to cut them up in tiny little pieces so they're about the size of your little fingernail. I don't want you giving great big chunks of treats or great big chunks of cheese or hot dog or anything like that. I mean, your puppy would love it, but you won't when you're up at 3 a.m. and they're having a diarrhea poo in the garden. Tiny little treats, but lots of them, okay? Then I want you to go and get your puppy's bed, blanket, crate, I don't know, wherever they feel safest. I want you to go and grab that as well, okay? So you've got your treats, you've got your playlist, and you've got your puppy safe space. This might be their bed, it might be their Kate. I'm thinking of cake, aren't I? It might be their crate, where you've put, now I can't stop thinking about cake. It might be their crate where hopefully you've already made it really comfy for them. I don't like it when I see puppies in crates without any bedding in there because I think that's really mean. It's a hard plastic surface on the bottom of the on the bottom of the crate. So you can get crate mats, you can get big thick plush blankets, you can get beds, whatever you want to make it comfy in there for your pup. Now we're going to start doing our desensitization exercises. Okay, so you do this when your puppy is fairly calm and relaxed anyway. You don't do this first thing in the morning if they're roaring, full of energy, dying to get going with their day. You don't do it when they're hyper and excited. You do this when they're already feeling fairly chilled, fairly calm, fairly relaxed. And this is when you start doing your exercise. What do? You get your puppy in a room with you. You get them to go to their bed or their crate or their safe space or even on the sofa with you. I don't care. It really doesn't matter. Wherever your puppy feels safest. If they're happiest sitting on your lap doing this exercise, that's what we do. And then you start to play the playlist, okay? Now, it's really important you start playing it at a really, really low volume. And I mean so low that you're wondering, is that even on right now? Because you won't be able to hear it, but your puppy will. And whilst you've put this playlist on, you want to be giving your puppy tiny little amounts of the treats, okay? If you don't want to just be constantly feeding them treats, you can give your puppy a stuffed Kong, a licky mat with something yummy spread on it, a tasty chew, a snuffle mat. You can do your own DIY enrichment. My private clients who are watching this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Get your toilet rolls out, get your kitchen rolls out, get your cardboard boxes. If you're not a private client and you're feeling a bit confused, you can be a private client if you get in touch with me and ask about my puppy training services. So you've got your puppy on the sofa with you. They're nice and calm and relaxed. You've given them something yummy, whether it's the treats or the Kong or the licky mat. You're doing all this for them. You've got the playlist on really quietly in the background. And you're watching your puppy for signs of a reaction, okay? You're looking to see if your puppy is feeling nervous or anxious or scared. You're looking for signs of this through their body language. So even if their tail is wagging because they're getting something yummy, focus on their ears. Are they soft and relaxed, or are they kind of standing upright to attention because they're focusing on the scary sound that they can hear? Look at their eyes. Are they nice and relaxed, or are they a bit like this? Yeah, it looks creepy, doesn't it? They're a bit like that. That's called whale eye. When you can see a lot of the whites of the eyes, it indicates levels of stress. Is your puppy licking their lips a lot? Now, if you're feeding them something yummy, yes, they might be. But they're doing it in a way that indicates nerves or anxiety. Are they lifting their paw up slightly and just holding it up here? That, again, can indicate levels of anxiety and stress as well. If your puppy is showing these signs of stress and you think, well, I've put the volume on as low as I can, it's still not low enough, okay? So you stop, give your puppy some rewards, let them decompress, and then you start again at an even lower volume. You do this for a couple of minutes, depending on your puppy. If they can't cope with 2 minutes, you maybe try 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, okay? This is why I'm saying it's really difficult to give you an exact guideline because every puppy is different. So I can give you a basic idea, but you really do need to be mindful of tailoring this to your own puppy. And if you don't feel like you can do it on your own and you want some help, please do get in touch with me. I'm always happy to help you. Okay, and if your puppy is coping with the sounds and you put it on a really, really low volume, you think, well, you know what, we can go a bit further than this, bit, louder than this. Slowly start to increase the volume of the playlist, but very slowly. Don't just suddenly turn it onto the maximum volume because that will scare them. Slowly increase the volume of the playlist. Make it louder and louder all the time that you're doing this. At the same time, you're rewarding your puppy. Okay, you're giving them their favorite treats, their favorite foods, their favorite chews, their favorite snuffle mat. And what you're doing is you're taking something really scary, like a firework noise, and you're matching it with something really yummy, like something that they really enjoy. Now, if you say to me, my puppy won't eat when I'm playing the sounds, you're playing them too loud. If they're stressed out by what they're hearing, naturally they're not going to want to eat. Equally, if your puppy becomes really bitey and snatchy and like grabs stuff off you, they're actually displacing their tension, their stress at hearing these noises onto the way that they're taking food. Now, again, this is something you need to be really mindful of when you're doing this exercise with them. So when I say a couple of minutes and your puppy can only cope with 12 seconds, you start with 10 seconds, okay? And then you increase to 12 seconds and then 15 and 20 and so on. You see where I'm going with this, don't you? Now, what you're doing behind this process, the actual science behind it, is you're desensitizing your puppy to the noise of the fireworks. And over time, as you do this training with them, you can do a little bit every day, maybe every other day. Again, depends on your puppy, how stressed out they are by it. If they are stressed out, I think you should probably just get in touch with me for some guidance, some one-to-one guidance. I don't want them to be exposed to this every day if they can't cope with it. But if your puppy is coping, you can kind of speed it up a little bit. So you do this sort of playlist desensitization with them. Now, why did I say at the beginning not to use live firework noises? One, because there are going to be other things going on in the video as well, probably people screaming, cheering, all that kind of stuff, and we don't want to stress your puppy out, okay? We're focusing exclusively on the noise of the fireworks, not the actual, party that goes with it. And the reason you start slowly is so you can build your puppy's confidence and desensitize them to the actual noise itself. If you just go straight in at maximum volume and your puppy's terrified, every time they hear that noise, they're going to associate it with a really negative, scary experience. Trust me, you do not want that to happen, okay? So this is how I would train my own puppy to get used to fireworks. If I had a pup, I would do this playlist sort of desensitization. A couple of resources for you. You might want to write this down. I think there's something called Through a Dog's Ear, which is a calming playlist, a really nice calming playlist. So in between doing your firework desensitization exercises, you want to make sure your puppy's got plenty of opportunities to de-stress themselves, so they're not accumulating stress, and then they're getting up to here and they're having a big panic attack, okay? So in between doing your firework desensitization exercises, you want to make sure that you've got nice, calm playlists, nice music, things that you can play during the day just to help your puppy release any tension that they're experiencing there, okay? That is the main way that I would prepare my puppy for fireworks. Another thing that I want to say to you, and this is really important, so don't switch off just yet. I want you to think really carefully about how you're going to keep your puppy safe during fireworks season. Everybody says, oh, he's never done that before, or this is the first time, or I never expected him to do that, or I didn't think he could jump 6-foot fences. You'd be surprised what puppies are capable of when they're scared. Okay, so there's a couple of practical things you need to do. You might want to write these down because they're really important. First thing, you need to check that your puppy's microchip details are up to date. If you've recently moved house, if there's been a change of ownership, if you changed your phone number, whatever, go onto the database where your microchip is registered, get in there, check that all the details are up to date, because if your puppy goes missing, the first thing somebody will do is scan them for a microchip. If the details on the microchip are not correct, if they're registered to somebody else, that person will actually be contacted. Now, there's a story in the news at the moment about a dog that had a microchip, but it wasn't updated. That dog ran off, not due to fireworks, due to, I don't know, chasing something probably, but ran off. Owners couldn't find the dog. The person who the chip was registered to was contacted, and the dog has actually been rehomed to somebody else. Now, all this has happened because the microchip wasn't updated. And why? Because in UK law, as far as I'm aware, bearing in mind I'm not a lawyer, as far as I'm aware, the person who the microchip is registered to is the legal owner of that dog. So if your breeder is still the registered person on your puppy's microchip, they are the legal owner, not you. So it's really important that you make sure that the microchip details are updated, okay? I don't think I can stress that enough right now. Second thing you want to think about is lead management and lead safety. Now, if you're used to letting your puppy out for a wee at 10 p.m. in the garden, and there's a little hole in the fence, or you think, oh, maybe they could jump over that one day if they really tried to do it. What you want to be doing is putting your puppy on a lead, taking them out into the garden for the toilet and waiting with them whilst they do their business. Because if somebody lets off a firework over your garden or near your garden, your puppy panics and bolts. You will be surprised as to how high they can actually jump. And I'm not saying a 12-week-old puppy can scale a 6-foot fence, but if you've got an older dog, it's very likely that they could find a way of escaping and running. And a dog that's scared will be full of adrenaline and cortisol, and they will just leg it, okay? They are in flight mode. You are not going to catch them. Don't put your puppy in that situation, okay? It's as simple as putting the lead on, taking them out into the garden. Same thing on walks. Even if you're going out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, still put a lead on them. Even if you're used to letting them off lead, running around, they've got brilliant recall, all that kind of stuff. If somebody lets off a firework in the middle of the day, let's be honest, most people are idiots. People do things like this. You cannot expect it. You cannot predict it. It's not worth the risk of your puppy running off. Go back to long line training. So have them on a long line, so at least you've got something that you can, get them back with. Or maybe consider hiring out secure field, especially weekend of bonfire night. So they can have their off-lead run around, but they're in a secure environment as well, okay? Last thing I want to talk to you about, and again, I hope you're still with me here, is it's good job we're getting to the end of this, is the emotional fallout of firework season for your puppy. There's a couple of different ways that fireworks can affect your puppy that's not just fear, anxiety, and nerves, okay? First thing is the impact it will have on their sleeping routine. Now, if your puppy's used to getting really good quality sleep during the day or in the evening, this might be completely ruined by the fireworks that are constantly going off. Now, a tired puppy can be a bitey puppy, a moody puppy, a grumpy puppy, a puppy that doesn't want to do any training with you, a puppy that doesn't want to listen to you. A bit like me, really, when I've not had a good night's sleep. I'm not really interested in what's going on around me. I just want to get back to bed. So bear that in mind, that if your puppy's not getting really good quality sleep like they normally would during fireworks season, they will enter into what we call a sleep deficit, and they will need to catch up on those extra hours that they've missed out, okay? So just be patient with your puppy during this time. Don't push them into training or anything that they don't want to do. Second thing you might want to think about is appetite. Some puppies eat more when they're stressed. Some puppies eat less when they're stressed. So if you are following guidelines on food and your puppy's wolfing it all down and you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, they just constantly seem hungry and stressed all the time, feed them a little bit extra just during fireworks season. Obviously, we don't need to go crazy with the food that we're giving them, but just regulate how much they're eating based on their stress levels is what I'm trying to say here. So just be mindful that appetite might change, their eating habits might change as well. Their mood might change. They might be a little bit on edge. They might be a little bit anxious. They might not be able to cope with new things that previously they would have been absolutely fine with. Things like a car door slamming or a engine backfiring might send them into an absolute meltdown because they're already stressed out by the fireworks, okay? It's a little bit like if you have a bad day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Friday, you're going to be absolutely on edge and the smallest thing will set you off. Same thing with puppies and fireworks. The stress might build in their system in a way that you might not notice, and the smallest thing might just set them off and you might think, oh my God, what the hell's going on? Okay, just worth bearing all these things in mind. So I'm going to leave it there for now and try and keep this just under 20 minutes because I know it is Friday and you've probably got, better things to be doing. I hope this has been helpful. Like I said at the beginning, questions are very welcome. One-to-one guidance is available as well if you need some help. If your puppy has an extreme phobia or a really severe anxiety around fireworks, the best person you can speak to is your vet. What I don't want you doing is going on Amazon and buying a load of calming supplements that could be made out of, I don't know, ground up chalk for all we know, and giving those to your puppy. Yes, vets can be expensive sometimes, but honestly, it's not worth risking filling your puppy with junk off the internet because you don't know what's inside there, okay? A good vet will be able to recommend different calming supplements that will actually help your pup. But this is, again, if you've got really severe anxiety and phobia of fireworks and loud noises, you really want to be working with a veterinary professional. Going to leave it on that note. Have a fabulous weekend, everybody, and I will see you again on Monday for day 4 of the challenge. See you then.